Oh, man.
Okay.
Dude, we made it this time.
Yeah.
All right.
We're really good at running from that drone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It keeps chasing us.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Talk Heathen.
It is.
Woo!
Yeah, it is I almost said episode 2. It is season 2, episode 3, and I know what season and episode it is.
You do, and it is also Sunday, January 21st. I'm Eric.
And I am Jamie.
And we're glad you made it with us today. So, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's been better than Thomas Monson's week. I'll tell you that. Because he died.
He's dead. He's dead.
So that was really kicking a man when he's down in his grave.
You know what? He's had enough time to talk to his God, so maybe,
And
when he gets to meet
a
him.
million plus people in his church to tell them that.
Way more than a
I
million.
mean, I don't think they use the F word
No.
when describing gay people.
I think we
but-
should probably let the
Yeah,
audience know what the heck we're talking
the
about.
now former president of which denomination?
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a.k.a. the Mormons, have lost their living prophet. But that's okay. They have
They get a
backup.
new one right away.
So they always need to have a prophet. And they continually get new revelation from the prophet, and then down from the prophet you have the quorum of the 12, and moving out you just have this. It's like an onion. It's just totally layered in. But they have a new
Except
creamy
it's
center.
An infinite onion because God / Jesus / Joseph Smith / Elohim / Heavenly Father. That's the one they use the most, I think. That line from that song in the musical The Book of Mormon will have to change because they use the current president of the church.
They're going to have to change it to
isn't the
Russell
president.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Russell Nelson speaks directly to God. You know what? It works.
I am a Mormon.
So, congrats, Mormons, on getting a new prophet. Sorry that your last one died.
I know. I'm just. There's a Patton Oswalt bit where he's talking about how like the classmates of his young daughter, because his wife died a while ago, and so they're asking him questions like, "Oh, when your wife died, were you sad or whatever?" Because they're kids and they just say whatever's on their mind.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Yeah, but you get like an insight into their home life." And one of them asked me like, "Oh, I forget his daughter's name, gonna have a new mommy?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know, I haven't thought about that." And he goes, "Because when my parents stopped living together, I had a new mommy right away." And he's like, "I bet you did. And I bet she's not teaching your mom Pilates."
The Mormon Church, hey.
Sorry,
I'm not saying that, the Mormon Church gets to marry their Pilates instructor. That's cool.
Well, I mean, second life material.
Actually, back onto track. I do want to talk about a couple things that are going on with Talk Mormon. Mormon. Oh my gosh, Talk Heathen.
Yeah.
Yes, Talk Heathen to me, man. All right.
Who makes mistakes now? Neil Gaiman, nothing. You got the wrong name of the show.
Fair enough. So
that's really not our team dynamic.
New news. We hit 5,000 subscribers! Woo!
Woo!
All right.
Yeah.
We're super, super excited about it. Thank you all so much for liking and subscribing and sharing.
Eric has agreed to thank you all by username right now. And Eric, take it.
Why you gotta do that? You know what? I'll start a GoFundMe or a Patreon if they wanna. That's fine. I'll do it.
All right. Give Eric a bunch of money and then.
Actually, Jamie and I will have a surprise for viewers when we hit 10,000 subscribers.
Yes, I'm not sure which of the surprises we've talked about.
The very big surprise. I'm announcing it and didn't tell you. Yes!
Wait, no, not right now. What are you talking about? We have surprises to have before then, presumably.
Yes, but the 10,000 is going to be a really big one. Other than that, people are active on Reddit, reddit.com/r/talkheathen. People have been emailing in to mail, MAIL, @talkheathen.com, and you're absolutely welcome to do that. Since that's not coming up, I will direct you to the phone number right there. We do have a couple open lines left, and the number is 512-686-0279. Call in.
That's 512-686-0279.
You know, people
You're on with fart smell and Beavis in the morning.
You know, they're going to hate us for not going right to calls.
Well, I mean, they can.
Taste it, right?
I
Just
do not
feel
fear
it.
the wrath of our angry equivalent of a god. Although I say that now, Vern hasn't blasted any loud sounds in my ears. But
He can. All
I
right.
think he's more, as long as we don't take calls from people with terrible audio,
Well,
the Lord of Audio shall be appeased.
do you want to see or do you want to say anything else? The secular families met yesterday, and it was really awesome. Thank you all so much for coming out.
what's up,
Robin,
what's
thank you
up?
for organizing it. Linnea, thank you for your help. Jamie, thank you for everything you did.
Chairing the committee.
We
I get
really,
the
really
title.
appreciate it. And we
Woohoo.
really hope to see more people out next time. Stay
If you're
tuned.
in
We're
the
gonna be-
Austin area, go ahead and reach out either directly to me, directly to Eric. By letter-carrying fox, however you choose to contact people, and let us know. And you too can show up at a.
Or you can
one
find
of
us
the
on
many-
Meetup,
Yeah.
or you can look for the ACA Secular Families on Facebook.
Or
And,
the ACA
we hope to see you there.
page.
Are we on the? Is the Secular Families group on the ACA page already? Are we promising more than we have? Jamie?
No, I just said as far as getting in touch with us, because not everyone has a family. You
Don't go
is-
there. You know. Oh.
I don't. Well, I
Okay.
mean, I have my that got really dark.
Yeah, it did.
I have no family.
Are we ready to
Sorry,
take our
orphans.
first caller?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anything else? We're good?
Just like you to keep us on track.
All
My
right.
thing isn't pulling up the list.
Let's
so
go
I
with the
just have to
first.
trust.
Bailey in Florida. I cannot. Kissimmee?
You're
Bailey,
on with Eric and Jamie.
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. All right.
Yeah, Kissimmee. No, you're not
Kiss of you. I haven't even met you
Well, you
yet.
might. Whatever.
Bailey, what do you got for us today?
Okay, because recently I think you said something on the Atheist Experience about you getting all these callers like, oh, you can't eat meat and be moral, you have to be vegetarian. And this is one I've come across before. It's like a resurgence.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I
It's hot
disagree
right
with that.
now.
I disagree with that because, okay, let's say vegetarian.
Also.
The types of pesticides they use, or organophosphorus, basically they cause the internal organs to dissolve in the rat's dye of apnea. Like that wouldn't be allowed in any slaughterhouse in the developed world. I mean, yes, there are some slaughterhouses that aren't up to code, but they have a code. At least we have something to work from. I'm sorry, I'm saying I'm too much.
That's okay.
Oh,
that's
you're
okay.
good.
Okay, so I mean, I actually get my eggs and poultry from some co-op farms near Austin. Each chicken has like
Austin.
108 square feet. They get enrichments like bales of hay to peck. They get to go outside whenever the weather's possible. I mean, they get to live a good chicken life before they become my food. And hopefully I have an enriched life before I become bug food, which I've become more comfortable with, honestly, over the last few years. That,
So Bailey,
the circle of life or something.
Yeah, just to clarify, are you saying that we only have one life to live and we need to make the best of it before we pass on? That we need to do our best to enrich ourselves and enrich others before we take the big dirt nap? Is that where you're going with that?
Dirt nap.
That's wonderful.
No, I agree with that as well. But what I'm going at is, eating a vegetarian life. Being a vegetarian requires a lot of calories. That means a lot of farms. That means planting the same thing over and over again, which impacts biodiversity. So really the most morally ethical thing to do is to eat a combination of animals that are raised humanely and live a nice enriched life, and a combination of vegetables, because you have to have them for fiber and vitamins, and some of them are kind of tasty. So I reject this idea that being a vegetarian is more humane or more morally correct because, do rodent lives don't matter? And if you start drawing arbitrary distinctions about, oh, this type of life matters, but that type of life doesn't matter, then, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. The history of humanity is the history of us using plants and animals in one way or another to survive, and tools and everything around us. That's why we have a word natural to mean all the stuff that isn't us.
I just can't
As
help
in, we are masters of all that is natural.
I just can't help but think of all of the
candy.
extra email that we're going to get from this. Thank you, Bailey.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But
This
you
is
know,
a bad time for me to try and get you to get a Twitter.
Nope, not going to happen.
gonna
every
have
time we talk about it, we do get emails in, and every time I do read them. We do read the emails, and we do see the comments. And
You say that. There's a
do.
comment I don't think you've seen yet that was like, I'm upset about what Eric said on the...
Oh, yeah, no, I saw it.
But yeah, you left that for me
So
because it was
you
labeled...
guys-
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is I don't know about Jamie, but I think I can hazard to say we're both always up for talking about moral, where we get our morality, ethics, and all of those questions. And I think that we're both trying to show that we're not experts. We never said we were experts, but we're always willing to learn. We're always willing to consider new evidence and follow the evidence where it leads us, because that's where we're going to find the truth.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I just, more people should be like that. Like, let's follow the evidence.
I
instead of, like,
agree.
picking a conclusion and then defending it. Like, that seems to be kind of the default state of people, is we like to do that. Like, I don't know, the airplane question, airplane on a runway. Like, people will jump with a conclusion and then trying to defend it, instead of going, okay, let's break this down. How would this actually work?
Yeah.
Well, because that takes work.
You are saying something that you would expect a group to agree with, I don't know what the secular equivalent of preaching to the choir is, but whatever that is, that.
Yep.
Okay. You mentioned that there's no such thing for that before, I think.
Well, I
That's
think
like the bones of Christ or something?
Can we
Like, there's no equivalent?
the bones of Christ.
please tell me about the bones of Christ, Bailey?
Did you find them? Because that would be
I thought
amazing.
you guys talked to...
Did we?
No, like,
I don't
like,
have the bones of
atheist
Christ
philo-
buried in my backyard. What?
No, like, we don't have the
Man.
equivalency. Like, so, like, if someone's talking to me, if a theist is talking to me and says, oh, what would disprove your atheism, which is a weird question, but,
Yeah.
like, I don't have, like, you know, like a Christian, you could say, oh, what would throw one thing out there. You got one thing, and that would be like, oh, yep, getting rid of Christianity. You could say, oh, here I have the bones of Christ, so we can see that he didn't actually resurrect. And atheism doesn't have that. You can't go like, oh, well, if you gave me the bones of Christ, I'd stop being an atheist. Like, there's no
'cause that
equivalency.
Yeah.
What, it's sort of like, oh, would a god have bones? What does a god mean? Like,
Can we DNA test it and find that it's the DNA of a demigod?
what would a demigod's DNA look like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm super down if that ever happens, but until then, that's kind of freaking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
but no. Your point's taken is we don't have a I have a scripted answer to your question, but that's kind of
Yeah,
the
I
nature
like
of
Matt
responding
Dillahunty.
to Christians and other believers.
Sorry.
Is that they have a
like Matt.
script. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I like Matt Dillahunty's answer. Like, so if there's an all-powerful knowing God, then he knows what he needs to know to convince me, and he either doesn't know that or he doesn't want me.
Yeah.
Or he's working in mysterious ways.
Or he's impotent. I mean, if you had an all-knowing, all-loving God that can't do anything, then there you go. Or if that God is all-powerful and all-loving, then either he doesn't know, then doesn't know about us and doesn't know what's going on. And the final one is if you have a God that is, what's the last one? Either God's impotent, ignorant, or he hates you. That's basically...
Yeah, you can't have the three legs. I forget what it's called.
The omnis.
The omnis, yeah. Omnibenevolent, omnipowerful, omniscient. No,
I don't know, not to be mean, but I like Aaron Ra's comments. Like, I don't know, I assume you know of Aaron Ra.
Yeah.
God works in delusional ways. Have you heard him say that before? I like binge watch Aaron Ra.
I mean, I haven't
And you
heard
guys
him say
sometimes.
that. I've read a significant portion of his responding to creationist book. But I started reading a new book, and it was something that I meant to ask you before. Sorry, Bailey. It was something I meant to ask you before, Eric, on the show.
What's
if
up?
we're going to do, at any point, informal book club or whatever. I guess the equivalent of that would just be me being like, I'm reading this book, and then having other people.
I mean, I'm super down for us to do all kinds of stuff, not just this. I'm super down for us to do live streaming on Twitch for playing video games. I'm super down for getting book groups together. I'm super down with just getting as active as people want us to be. We just don't know what you want. So let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, and Bailey, I want you to let us know too, but this is out to everybody. Let us know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the stuff you're doing so far. I mean, I'm actually, I don't know. I'm kind of surprised your show hasn't taken off more. Oh, I had the one question. What is the 5,000 subscriber surprise? What do we get? Because I subscribed, so I want to know what.
Just wait. There will be something in the immediate future that we've planned before this sentence.
Is there? I didn't know that.
Yes, of
Tell me, Jerry, what is it?
It's a surprise.
At 10,000, we do have something really big planned.
I remembered your birthday. I just decided to get you this trinket from a gas station near our house.
All right. Hey, Bailey, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or?
I'll throw one. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like we didn't talk about...
Today does actually happen to be my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Oh, happy birthday! Another lap around the sun.
Yes, and talking about books, I'm going to get 2 books, and I don't know which ones they are for my friend. She's getting me, I asked for a book from either Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens, because I don't actually have any of their books. So I said, give me one from one of them. So she's going to give me one from each of them, but I don't know what they are.
Nice.
Well, I mean, nice. I don't know why I was about to start making recommendations for what you should get as a gift from someone else.
I actually just started rereading one of my favorites.
Delusion?
You know, that is one of my favorites, but I was going to say the Complete Heretic's Guide to Western Religion, Book 1, The Mormons, by David Fitzgerald.
David Fitzgerald is neither Richard Dawkins nor Christopher Hitchens.
No, but it is very informative about a really interesting niche religion, and I just love learning about Mormons. And
I know about that book.
Do you?
And yeah, because basically he copied, published in 1809, a copy of the Asian. They have a show. The guy, the explorer, whatever, and he went into Asia.
Yeah.
Marco Polo.
John Smith or whatever. He got that from a specific copy published in 1809 about Marco Polo because he plagiarized some of the footnotes because John Smith didn't know. Oh, I'm sorry. John Smith didn't know about military stuff, so he didn't know, so if you have this many soldiers, how many support field people do you have? Like, you have to have this many wagoners and this many that and this many that. So since he didn't know, he just took the same numbers from the footnotes of that copy of Marco Polo.
Because, if there's one thing you want in your book that you're supposed to be writing as revelations from God for how people live their life, it's very detailed instructions about how exactly the supply lines were set up when the Lamanites fought. Although I guess if God's giving you advice how to kick everyone else's.
Actually, he doesn't. In the book, they lose over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, and eventually they
also
all die.
You have all of these fantastic anachronisms, all of the
steel.
different and elephants,
submarine
horses. But Bailey, I think,
and half the animals, a bunch of the plants.
Yeah.
At one point, Oprah makes a cameo. It's just ridiculous.
Bailey, I think we're going to let you go, brother.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do we want to talk?
Thank you.
He was calling it about veganism.
Do we want to go?
Just briefly.
I'm so tired of the emails.
I know, but they're not going to stop.
Okay,
so,
give them.
Go. The thing that I have to say is that the arguments that I've encountered so far are, you have this moral system based on harm, but you're not considering the harm of other animals. Therefore, you're not doing your moral system bad, or your moral system is bad based on that alone. And I'm sorry, no. Unless you're going to find a way of arguing objective moral values, we have different ones, and trying to persuade me that I should adopt a closer version of yours than mine is going to take a lot more than saying mine are wrong, mine are right, and yours are wrong. Yeah.
What's the saying? That which can be asserted without evidence
Can be dismissed without evidence.
Yeah.
Hitchens razor.
Yeah.
So I try and approach it as, because I just have such a problem with processing a lot of that every time I come at it, I really try and, but still where I'm at, I eat burgers and I don't feel bad about it. So. Yeah,
and that's where I go with, because it is about not doing, minimizing harm or mitigating harm is by, like, find a co-op. One I heard about was, if you want to know, like a cheat is if you want to know whether a farm is treating their animals humanely, call them up and say, hey, can I just show up and see how you raise the animals? And they're like, sure, yeah, whatever. They probably don't have anything to hide, so they probably are treating the animals humanely. Mm-hmm. But if they start trying to get into weird scheduling things, they're probably trying to hide something.
Yeah, or you can have the Russian problem of opening up and
the Russian problem.
Yeah.
You mean the
USSR opening up their books, and being like, hey, you can check it out, and everybody's like, you're terrible.
Well, they were like, yeah, these books are legit.
Yeah.
Although. Yeah, sorry, one of the things that is in every part of my consideration, just based on how I approach things as to like, how much harm is this causing, is a cost-benefit analysis of how it changes the situation for human beings, right? Like, so there was a statement online that was like, we should stop eating beef because then they got into like, how this industry supports these politics, and we could end this, and then we'd have more room, and there's only so much land that can be used for growing plants and all of this. And my thing is like, okay, well, the United States grows an expletive ton of corn, and a lot of that goes to feed our cows and to put sweet goo into basically all of the food that we eat of any kind. And we export a lot of it. And so when I get into a discussion with someone about the politics of farm subsidies or diets or impact on environment, I say like, okay, well, yes, in an ideal world, snap my fingers, everything is different. We still have full employment and this is the way things work. But trying to get from A to B is very different than saying make situation B be the situation that we're in now. And so when people say, definitely eat a vegan diet because that's better, I can say, yeah, no, the impact of, as they say, eating a cheeseburger, like in a world where that cheeseburger didn't exist until you paid for it, an additional cheeseburger has a large impact on the environment. However, not buying things from people that are trying to feed their family does as well. So at that level, my concern is, like, from 1 to 10, my concerns are the welfare of human beings times 9, and then other stuff. And then that number 10 branches out.
All right.
So,
all right.
Values listed.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm now overrunning over other people.
Yeah, we're gonna move on.
Move on, and I'm gonna get off my phone and go watch you on YouTube.
Woohoo!
Cool.
Take care, brother. Thank you so much for calling. And just to
like, comment, and subscribe.
Did you email Talk Heathen?
Okay.
Oh yeah. Did you? Are you one of our emailers?
No.
No?
Right.
Okay, we had someone who emailed with that exact question. I just wanted to. All right.
Well, he's the only person that wants to talk
Take care.
about. Thanks, Gabe. Thank you, Bailey.
You know,
My mouth is really dry.
Actually, last weekend I got to talk to Tracy about leaving a carbon footprint. And you know what's one of the best ways to reduce your carbon footprint?
Die.
Don't have kids. Or die, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, it's terrible, but it's true.
I win.
It
kids
is.
are great.
Adopt. Well, I mean, just adopt. There are lots of kids that need families, a lot of people that... You're a sick puppy.
I'm just saying, if the only thing on your agenda is reducing... It's like there was a person in Austin who was hired as a consultant that was like, all right, increase the number of people that ride the buses. and you will be paid based on how much that increases. And their advice and the actions they took was make riding the bus free. And then the plan that they said is, oh, well, we'll get these people to make it part of their commute, and then they'll get used to it, and then when we charge them, they'll stay. And a bunch of people came, and then they started charging them for riding the buses again, and then everyone left. And the consultant got paid.
Nice. I did not know that. All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah. Which of those are you planning on taking?
Oh, totes Josh. Unless you want to take some of them.
I don't see totes Josh. I see Josh.
Yeah?
No.
Yeah?
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Josh in Minneapolis. You're talking to Eric and Jamie. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm doing well. How are you two?
Good afternoon.
I'm doing well.
Yes.
Marvelous.
Awesome. I'm ecstatic to be calling in. I'm a big fan of the show, so thanks for taking my call.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Awesome.
good, flattering to hear.
Yeah, no, very much so. Before I get on to my question, only because I heard book recommendations for the previous call, do you mind if I make one quick?
Yes.
Depends on what it is.
It does not necessarily reflect us until after we hear it.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about recommending reading the Bible. Probably good.
Dianetics or whatever, right? The only reason I call it to mind is because the last caller mentioned the bones of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a wonderful book that was written around the turn of the century called When It Was Dark. Christopher Hitchens is one of Hitchens' favorite books. And the author was a man called Guy Thorne, and it actually chronicles an archaeological team that happens upon what's certain to be the corpse of Jesus, which therefore disavows the entire resurrection story. And I actually do debates myself here in the Minneapolis area.
Oh, really?
On the atheist side, and I use that as a literary allusion when we're discussing morality. So that'd be my recommendation for anyone who cares to hear it.
That's awesome, man. We both wrote that down. We want to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
I hear that.
what did you want to ask us about today?
Yes, sir. So my question concerns the ideal of free will as an argument for theists.
You are free to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, very often I find myself in debate with theists, as I mentioned, and the one hump that I can never quite get over is the ideal of free will. And part of it is it seems like such a non sequitur to me, right? The idea of free will surely would not prove the existence of a deist, let alone an intervening theist.
Right.
No.
So I suppose my question is, when you've come up against these free will arguments from theists in your lives, how do you best combat that? Do you have a so-called script, as it were, that you follow?
I've actually had quite a few really long talks with theists about it. But
Here, what I would say is for the viewers at home that do less, let me disagree with someone with unbelievably firmly held beliefs arguments at home. You want to summarize what the points of one of these arguments might be? Either Josh or you.
No, I'd be happy to. I'd like to give my experience in that, actually. When it comes to free will, one of the main fallacies you're bumping up against is the appeal to consequence. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, the idea that we don't have any agency, because how can you justify the criminal justice system if we don't have any control over it? And so you have all of these really, really wild questions that come up, and so it's easier for everybody to just say, no, everybody has free will. But there have been some really amazing studies that have come out that have shown that in the brain, you can see activity happening. You can see a choice being made subconsciously before you actively do it. And so, and as far as I'm concerned, I think we live in a completely physical world. There's nothing else driving us. And so, do we have free will? I loved bringing that up with a Christian friend of mine. And really, my go-to is heaven. I ask them, is there free will? And are you happy in heaven? And yes. Is there free will in heaven? Yes. Would you be happy knowing that I was in hell? And that got him really, really stumped. Because what he was left with was either A, he was being taken charge, he was being affected such that he could not think the way that he wanted to. He would have his free will revoked by going to heaven. And that was, it's upsetting to think, are you going to be the same person when you get to heaven if you can't be sad about people that you love, right? And so that was kind of a 1-2 hitting different things, but I loved that because the best thing to do is say, I don't know, but you're not going to find a theist that says it.
No.
So that's kind of where I went with it. What about you, Jamie?
Well, I mean, there's a few things I think that we need to unpack. It depends on, I mean, you got to have an extra pair of socks, so we unpack that first. But what kind of free will are you talking about? Like,
Yes.
libertarian free will, or the kind of free will, like, do you mean the ability of a person to have done something other than what they did, right, in like a deterministic world, or do you mean the ability of a person to choose what they want?
Yes, so sort of Hegel's representation of free will in there's a universe of right and a universe of wrong. And the theist argument that I hear is because of God, we're given the right to act wrongly, if that makes sense. It always seems to me to be what's that phrase? Escape hatch argument.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that was so. Right and wrong, and then also it does seem the argument that I get is that it is deterministic, that the ability to make a choice could not have happened were it not for the impulse of divinity.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so the argument you get is it's deterministic because God made your choice for you? Sorry, is that like, I mean, I realize that's not your argument, and so I shouldn't be like, that argument, you, sir, who have just said this to me, but...
it just goes right around in a really big circle.
Yeah, but...
Well, as do all theist arguments.
Yeah, but
like
I'll take that over the
polka.
precept.
Yeah.
I'll take that over the precept. And for just the audience, it's all presuppositional apologetics is the idea that you are coming in having knowledge and you can have knowledge that the other person's not privy to. The most
Well, it's I am right because you can't know anything without
God.
Without God. I know God, and that's how I know the things, and I know that you know God. Why are you saying that you don't know God? Because you do.
And you can't know anything
And it's sort of
until
like,
you
no,
accept Jesus and do.
Let me think. I don't believe in God. Nope, you're wrong about what you believe. I already know. Is kind of what it boils down to. But they find different ways of saying that. We got off on precept apologetics.
But yeah, what do you use? You said you debate. What's your go-to? What's in your toolbox, and what are you willing to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm presented with the free will argument, I generally try to turn it then towards a morality argument, which is surprisingly, in my experience, I don't know if it's been different for either of you two, but it's actually surprisingly easy to do. And then, as I mentioned, I mentioned the book When It Was Dark, and I'm going to cut myself off a little bit here because I don't want to spoil the ending for either of you two.
No, please.
Sounds like you had
is it
interest in it.
Is it fiction?
It's fiction, yeah. Basically, as I mentioned, it's this archaeological team that happens upon what's thought to be the corpse of Jesus, and I'll be very, very brief. The news that they found the body of Christ and that therefore the resurrection has been disproved spreads around the world, and as the news of it spreads, darkness descends around the world, and the idea is by having Jesus been effectively disproven, moral chaos descends. And
What's Pat Robertson going to do with his life now?
Well, hang out with Ted Haggard, obviously.
When did this become the Inside Baseball show? But
Sorry,
go on. No, go ahead.
Go blue on your show. Oh gosh, where was I?
You were talking about without Jesus, moral chaos.
He was talking about, as far as it happens in the book When It Was Dark.
Yes, I have it now. So then my very next statement is it's ridiculous for anyone to think that way, that just because we happen upon the realization that indeed there is no God and there's empiric proof to demonstrate that therefore moral chaos descends and we become animals. And that's my general go-to. I have a debate coming up actually with a pastor of a Methodist church at the end of the month. So
you know what?
wish me luck.
To be clear, is this an expositional debate, or is it you've just agreed to meet with him in a room and argue?
Yeah, I suppose the latter. I'm not above an argument either. I like to any more.
Oh, okay. So it's not like come one, come all, see a pastor debate.
Oh no, it certainly is.
Okay.
Do
you have someone
I get
filming?
moderating?
Oh, filming.
Filming. Yeah, I plan to.
So here's what you
Send me
should
a
do. You should send it to our Reddit because I totally want to see it.
Oh, sure.
Really?
Choose the
I
one
love that.
platform that you are on at least as much as I am.
Okay, or email it to mail@talkinghead.com.
Send it to
and then Jen
Facebook,
can do it.
because then he'll get on Facebook.
I don't like it.
Or tweet the link at me.
And then I'll never see it.
You always talk over my Twitter handle.
Go.
No, 'cause then I
Reason
can just-
underscore.
Or evidence. At reason_evidence.
Yeah.
Although usually.
Reason underscore evidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the
Awesome.
one that I started arguing with creationists on Twitter with.
Sounds like
True
fun.
confessions.
Right.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I suppose I was trying to think if I don't want to step on anyone else's call, so I shouldn't squander my time.
Well,
but,
we'll tell you when your call is done.
I'm curious. What's the most common argument that either of you two see for theism?
Look at the trees. Look at the fucking trees.
Yeah.
I get that.
see
No,
the trees.
my favorite is, have you ever seen a sunset? And I go, look, come on. I want to respect your opinion, but let's be a little bit more intellectually honest with each other than that.
Yeah, it's really pretty when the light from the sun is bending around the curvature of the earth as affected by gravity and dispersed by the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, thank God for making the atmosphere, of course.
Or the.
so wait, does
the
that mean
complexity.
CFCs can destroy God by cutting out the ozone layer? And or is that the wrong acronym?
Yeah, we've got that one, and then we've got everything is so complex it cannot be just random.
Yeah.
The watchmaker. Yep.
Yeah. To be clear, was your question what do we get most often on the show, or just in our lives generally?
Oh gosh. Well, I suppose either or. I was thinking specifically on the show, but certainly.
Oh,
Yeah.
where do you get your morality?
Um,
We got that a couple times.
Yeah. Well, for me, the one that I get most often off the show is some version of it just makes sense, or it's the only way that things make sense. And
I also want to leave y'all with the line. I think that's one of my first Texas y'alls.
well, if you have a line,
is
you have to take care of it.
Pendulette's line.
Leave it with them.
I do all the raping that I want to do, which is 0. Right?
Yeah. Don't pause for too long in between those two statements.
Right? It's I do all of the killing that I want to do, which is 0. See, better. I do all of the theft and the other abhorrent actions that I want to do because
Which is too many.
I'm a moral creature, and just because we need to talk about it and just because we want to explore it doesn't mean that we're immoral. Just because we're not walking into it saying, oh, I've got it handled. It's the invisible man in the sky.
Yes.
Or woman, depending on who you talk to.
And any
More
theist
often
that
than not.
makes that argument of you'd only know morality through God, it seems to me comes dangerously close to having any number of atheists say, well, wait a minute, the Bible is the most positively violent, genocidal, misogynistic book out there.
It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there.
I
I've
almost
I've
wish
read
I
worse.
was close friends with Dawkins just so I could ask if I could play the clip of when he's reading.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of when he's reading The God Delusion,
okay?
and he just does the intro where it's like, the God of the Bible is the most horrible character in all fiction, and then he just finishes like that paragraph as I would say well written, and just to hear Dawkins say it.
Yeah. I don't think it's the most immoral, but it is way up
I'm
there.
not here to argue about characters in fiction.
It's fun. I like comic books and stuff, and Thanos snapped his finger and destroyed half the life in the universe.
Yeah.
Come on, and it was way cooler. Like
But
you didn't
he's
have all the
involved in,
begats
like,
and crap.
cool fight scenes. So.
Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, are you going on to speakerphone or something?
No, my phone's stupid.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
I've been there.
I am doubtful that your phone is capable of intelligent thought.
Rational,
Yeah.
intelligent thought. Well, to be fair, I'm very often surprised by how many humans I think are capable of intelligent thought. Let's see. I suppose I hate to cut our time short.
Oh,
but,
that's all right.
yeah.
Keep
Well,
it succinct and
you
call
can-
back.
You can call back
well,
and keep in touch with us in the intervening time on. At this point, we should just have like a short video where we very quickly list all of the ways of contacting us.
Are you ready?
Just play it.
Mail at talkheathen.com. MAIL at talkheathen.com.
The Facebook page, Talk Heathen.
Our Reddit, reddit.com/r/talkheathen.
My Twitter handle, at reason_evidence.
Or you can stand on a street corner and just yell about it for a while. That could be fun.
Or you
call-
can send us a message by Messenger Fox.
You can call in when we're live by dialing 1-512-686-0279. And dude, Josh, do email. We answer them. We read them. And I'm absolutely excited about finding out more about your debate.
Oh, I would love that. I actually, and I appreciate that. I actually have one more thing, if there's time.
Let's make
Well,
it quick
is it
so
a
we can
quick
move
one?
on to the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
I'll be very quick. So I actually had the pleasure of speaking with Peter Hitchens last year, Christopher's brother. I interviewed him for a little over an hour. You can find it on YouTube. But one of the things he says to me is he's learned over a fairly long life that there is no such thing as temporal justice, secular justice. And that's why he feels that he has to believe in an afterlife, because that is where
Consequential.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exercising your freedom or morality immorally. And this might be a lazy question to cap off our discussion, but I'm just curious what either of you two think about that statement.
If reality is bad and you don't like it, that doesn't mean that you should believe that it's different.
Ooh, I like that. That could be like one, like a meme we just send around. That was clever. I like it. What he said, I like that. He said it, but then I said it too, so now I get the sub credit with him.
Yeah.
Rock on. All right. I very much appreciate taking my call. This was a real pleasure, and hopefully I'll call in again. I'll be able to call it again soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh.
All right. Good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Take
Yes,
care.
sir.
Good talking heathen to you.
Ooh, damn
There
it.
it is. All right.
So we do have a couple lines open, a couple lines taken. If somebody does want to call in, now you might get through. Otherwise,
on.
yeah, give it a shot.
Hand the phone to any member of your family that
I
will speak in cogent sentences.
I know I've
Or
been
not.
dominating the phones.
Well, that's because I can't pull it up on my
Haha.
computer.
But I do see
I think-
Janet's on, and I
yeah,
really
let's do
want
line
to talk
3.
to Janet. Because Janet's awesome.
Damn it,
Janet,
Janet.
you are a repeat caller now. How you doing? Janet?
All right, we can't hear you, but I feel like it should be said,
Aw.
we should start now keeping track of who calls and how many times they call.
Yeah.
Just because I like numbers and statistics. It could be, we could put it in a spreadsheet, bar graph.
Yeah, I hear her cussing in the background very lightly. Janet! Hello! You're live on Talk Heathen with Eric and Jamie. If you're not on in 5, 4, 3, and she's gone.
And she
That was
is
Janet.
out of here. I was going to go self-destruct in, but we're not self-destructing.
No.
Yeah.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
There's a pop song with a lyric, "So you wanna play with fire?" And it's like, well, how much do you want to play with fire?
Actually, no. Janet just called back in. I really don't.
Okay, well, take Janet real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna take Janet, and do you want to leave it up to the people in the chat whether or not we talk?
I'll message her.
Well, we can just say it live on air.
Yeah. Well, I can message in the chat as well.
This is really awkward TV.
Yeah.
This is
You know what we
really
should do?
awkward.
We should think and speak
Yeah.
cryptically about something that the audience doesn't.
We've got Hamish on the line, and we've
Building
had
dramatic.
Hamish on the line.
Yeah.
And I like that Hamish is on the line. Oh, Russell's in the audience. He says hi.
Hi, Hamish.
Yeah, I want to keep him on the line. Janet, you there?
Yay.
Woo!
Hey, guys.
Hey, we lost you. Lene is also in the audience, and
accidentally
she's saying hi.
hung up. I was like, my hand was going to sleep, and I like moved the phone, and oopsies. That's my fault.
That's all right. Linnea says hi. She's in the audience. She's waving.
Oh, hey.
Hey! Okay, so what do you got for us?
Well, I wanted to talk to you guys and seek some advice on how to handle a situation that happened to me this week and
Okay.
how I might do better. So I posted to my Facebook that I wasn't feeling well, and my very, very religious nephew replied that I would never feel well until I accepted God into my life.
Oh.
And I reassured him that it was just a bug and that I'd feel good in a couple days, no God needed.
The bug of
He
Satan.
continued to, let's call it, testify about what God has done in his life and how I need to have him in mind. And he's just worried about my eternal soul. I tried to be gentle with him, and I kind of used him some street epistemology to ask him why he feels like it's God that's working in his life, and not just chance that causes the things to happen, or his decisions and choices. But I find that it's kind of hard to have these conversations with families and loved ones who are not open to change. So I guess I'm just asking what you guys would recommend on how to handle things like that when you don't even seek out these interactions, they find you.
You want to go first, Jamie?
Well, I mean, it in many ways depends on the person you're talking to, right? So relatively recently, one of my immediate family members asked to see one of the shows that I was on, right? He was like, oh, well, you're always talking about this. You're always at the Free Thought Library at 1507 West Koenig Lake in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, and we do have a live audience in the back. Woo! If you're in the area, you're absolutely welcome to come in and see us live every Sunday at 1 o'clock Central. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Occasionally, I lose the ability to enunciate or pronounce anything, apparently.
Your cousin's saying that you are spending a lot of time at the ACA.
I didn't say
Caffeine.
cousin. I said an immediate family
Oh,
member.
immediate family member.
Well, I mean, everyone's a cousin,
I guess.
to some degree.
The caffeine is kicking in. I'm like ready to rock. Let's
All right.
do it. Go.
I just imagined your pupils going whoop, and just like, yeah, and so it was really interesting to sit next to a couch to someone that I've known pretty much my whole life, and be like, oh, is this gonna offend this religious person? What am I gonna? And then we didn't have like a lengthy conversation after it, but I got a kind of impression of where they are. So it really it depends on who it is, how well you know them, considering the fact that there's a relationship there that presumably you don't want to lose. That affects the way that you speak to a person a lot. It's one of the benefits of this show. Like the reason that we can have conversations that are more heated or less heated or take a form that like I couldn't have with someone that I've known my whole life is that when someone calls in, oftentimes I'm just meeting them then. And that's the whole basis of our, interactions is, oh, we're calling to talk about this. And that's what makes it entirely appropriate. And so the fact that you're, nephew is bringing it up and is bringing it up on Facebook are factors. Whether you want to talk to him textually or, verbally or in person are factors. But really, if you're trying to respond to him and say that, it depends in large part about how pithy you want it to be, because I came up with a couple of ideas for that, but that's because, I don't know, it's part of my job.
Well,
I mean, I guess I haven't given you any...
I tried to keep it fairly friendly, because, he is my nephew. He's only 20, so, I mean, he's not fully cooked, in my opinion. So and I think he has room to change. So instead of, beating him over the head and questioning everything he's ever known, because, I mean, he was brought up and, indoctrinated that way, I wanted to more plant a seed and make him think, well, maybe these things are chance, maybe, but I'm not used to, and my friends and family know, that it's probably not a good idea to come at me, so to speak, because they're probably going to hear things they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And, then their cognitive dissonance kicks in, and they don't, they just kind of back away. And that's kind of how it usually goes.
Yeah.
But, so I don't necessarily want to confront him so much as I want to, figure out, should we engage more? If let's say that, he was going back and forth, should I go that pithy route and try to just hammer home, more points, or should we just drop a seed, let it go, and then hope there's a next time where we can drop some more?
Well, it depends on, it depends on what your, for lack of more neutral language, what your win condition is, right? If what you're trying to achieve is a Facebook conversation that is interesting and would, right, so they say it on the Atheist Experience all the time. They take the calls and they have the conversations, not just for the caller, but for the audience as well. And so if it's on Facebook, there's a larger audience. If your goal is to try and reach him directly, in particular, one, I think that also makes something that people want to see, that can be, a crowd pleaser for a larger audience. This show, but I would say planting the seed is good. But if you're trying to, is it something where it's I don't want him harassing me or bringing this up all the time? And then does he live near you, or do you have other?
He does live near me, and there's a little bit of a caveat here that he has, mental illness that I think personally his religion makes worse, because he's subject to things like delusions. And so I try not to push too hard because of things like that too. But I also think that losing his religion is what's best for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to step in if that's all right.
Yeah, I would just say there's I
try to go gently, so maybe that's the best thing to do is just to be gentle with it. I
think that's best, but I feel like planting those seeds and presumably, I talk too much, but I would say presumably there was a diagnosis by a medical professional and highlighting how that as a means for people to know things would be good.
And I want to navigate this. I want to start off by saying, Jenny, you were a Christian, right?
I was. Yes.
Yeah.
I was. I only came out a few years ago, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was a Christian, I didn't just show up and say the words and walk out. I was on fire for the Lord. I was in it. I really, truly believed it. And I really... and it wasn't only recently that I started remembering things that were kind of ongoing in the church. And a lot of them were just manufactured problems. And, one of the big sayings is Christianity breaks your leg to sell you a crutch, right?
Right.
And it's not just the health thing. It's issues. There's so many different things wrapped around sexual repression that get brought up, and people say they're addicted to, to porn, or people are saying, they struggle with their thoughts and they're policing each other that way. You have support groups. I remember support groups as a teenage boy. All we could think about was sex. Come on, but it was a really big deal. It was a really big deal for us to stay away from things that were secular, to make sure that we weren't listening to music that was possibly backmasked with satanic verses, that we, made sure that we looked for the 666 and all of the graphics and all of that. And I know it seems like I'm going off tangent with this, but where I'm getting with it is that it is completely within the Christian mindset, and it's not just Christian mindset, it's the religious mindset, that you are fundamentally broken.
Right.
And that
well,
doesn't...
they want to keep you down. They want to keep you, oppressed and suppressed, so that you don't figure it out.
And it boosts itself up. I mean, that idea, I'm feeling bad, well, that's because you don't have Jesus. I would go so far as to say that for most people, that's a learned response. It's not. It's most likely not something he came up with on his own. And
well, I just have to say for myself, I felt like kind of bad at first when I first got out of the religion, because we talked about this in the last time I called, that the indoctrination causes trauma. Mm-hmm. But once I got finally pushed past that, I got to say I've never felt more free and more happy in my life than I did after I lost the religion. But it's hard for someone who's in it to see that that's a possibility. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right that they keep perpetuating that idea that you need it. And it's very hard to break someone of that, but I'm sure going to try with him, because I really think it would improve his life.
I do, and I think suggestions would be to model what a rational mindset is. Definitely, when you see something, especially if it's ancillary to his cause, but uses skepticism to get there, talk about
that's a very good idea. He's into rap music. He's into that artistry, and I know there's some atheist rap. So maybe that's
Great and Square.
Maybe that's the ticket in.
Great and Square is amazing. I listen to Great and Square. Please check out Great and Square.
Yeah, so maybe that's a great idea. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's a really great idea. Thank you so much. That will help a lot, I think.
And when you open that door up, when you're able to start those conversations and utilize the methodology of skepticism, you're able to
skeptically examine everything.
Well, you're able to let him go home and think about maybe applying that elsewhere.
Right.
There are a lot of different places and a lot of different approaches, and I'm not going to say any one of them is wrong. Some are more likely to alienate you from your nephew, but it takes all types, and who knows what's going to work for him. But you ultimately aren't responsible for converting him.
Right.
But you can be a positive
influence. And I'm not trying to force his decision, but I want him to understand that there are other options that he's never been exposed to, because the truth is he's never been exposed to it. He's always been in church since birth.
Oh, yeah. Give it time. The age 20 years old is such a big age for learning about the world. And just those next couple of years, his peers are going to be partying. His peers are going to be, opening up their worldviews. And so as long as you can help him spread out and see a couple things, he'll be able to take on a lot of that on his own, too.
Have him stand on the pier and look out at the ocean.
And if anything, even if he does stay a Christian, it will help him empathize with non-Christians. And it'll help him get the tools to be able to navigate his life in a better way. So I really don't see any negatives.
Even if he just stops thinking of people as lost souls into saying, okay, that person has holds another opinion than I do, would be a huge step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rock on.
All right. I thank you guys so much. You gave me some great ideas, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. I would also say in part of that conversation, I should have grabbed it before Janet hopped off, but
I should not have hung up, but I'm sorry.
No. You had no idea that I wanted to say something else, although that's usually a safe assumption. What I would say is that there was a point where you guys were talking about how the religion beats people down, and it's the like, it breaks your leg to sell you a crutch, although really it's, it tells you your leg is broken so that it can put it in a cast and sell you a crutch, and then when you say, well, I can't walk without this crutch, the explanation is, of course, that's because you're wearing this stupid cast. It's unnecessary.
Really fleshing out that analogy.
I'm on fire today.
All right.
I'm on fire for reason. But I would say that at one point there was the statement like, they want to beat you down so that you don't figure it out. And I would say, I don't really think that for the most part that's like a decision or a thought process that's happening in the minds of believers. I feel like, I can't remember the author or the exact title, but it's like the faith virus.
The God virus.
The God virus.
Dr. Darrell Ray.
Yeah. The God
really
virus.
good.
And so like thinking of religions and these things as like entities that exist with self-preservation that in a way go through different kinds of evolution almost.
I mean, that's the original meme theory, isn't it?
Well, do you mean like as described by Dawkins?
As described and
Yeah.
coined by Dawkins before it got taken over by the internet.
Well, I mean, the different applications of the same word.
Concept.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the internet was taking it over in the same way
Oh,
that the
no,
concept of...
I'm talking about your actual point of
yeah.
the
I have a lot to say
evolving
about words
concepts.
being pigeonholed. But yes, the evolving concept. So I don't think it's that like, the pastor is trying to beat you down so that you stay necessarily, as much as that's the practice in the religion, because religions that don't have that practice die out. As a sort of like, okay, well, this animal has claws and can run fast because that was necessary for it to stay alive. And to eat things. And now the cheetah is the fastest.
Okay. I really got nothing to add, bro. That's just kind of like, you're not giving me any meat here.
Yeah, I know. For a second, I was like, he could say something, but he isn't, because he wants me to...
To flounder on air.
Well, no, I was going to say to...
I would never do that to you.
STFU.
I would never do that to you.
You might never do that to me on air, but...
So, thoughts?
I think so.
Pull the trigger, let's do it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Got,
what do we want to give it?
I think we've got, another 20 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know when you want to try and pull the show to an end. We'll play it by ear.
Ready? Hamish, you are on the air with Eric and Jamie. How are you doing today, sir?
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, good afternoon for us.
Well, good day.
I am somewhat troubled. The reason for that, I'm somewhat bemused. I watched your show. I watched your show last week and saw Matt Dillahunty.
That was 2 weeks ago.
But I mean,
yeah.
And
you're worried that he's going to take over the show and you won't be able to see us. Don't worry.
No, Hamish, you got us. We're here and we're not going away. We promise.
We're here for you.
I was disappointed that I did not catch the show in time to call him and destroy his atheism.
Oh, man, that would have been cool, huh?
Yeah.
However,
that would have been a really good call, actually.
Okay, let's
depending on what you mean by destroy his atheism.
Yeah, let's actually get to the point. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, may I continue?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to get to the question so we can interact with it instead of just going on about you destroying atheism.
Yeah.
No, what I was saying was, I am disappointed by Matt Dillahunty's cowardice. I think that he is behaving in a very petty and juvenile manner, especially towards the challenge of the vegan community.
Oh man,
It is one of the atheism
are you still doing the vegan thing?
Well,
It's a pillar which atheism dies on.
No, it's a pillar that you're not getting off of, man. But you're like, I mean, do we still want to talk about veganism?
I mean,
I have another subject.
Well, I mean, to be really clear, I think your statement was along the lines of, you feel that Matt is being cowardly and You said childish. I mean, I'll just say, hey, Hamish had a message for you on the show. It was along these lines, and you're not responding to the thing. Boom.
If he were a brave man, he would take my call on his show.
All right. Well, I feel like I need to say that it's not. There are 3 rotating hosts, and I think 5.
He could be talking about atheist
rotating
debates where there are no calls.
Oh, yeah. Well, they don't take. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't, okay.
I am, of course, talking about the atheist experience,
Yeah,
which in context is the only one which makes sense.
In context, then we need to do exactly what Jamie's saying. We have other hosts that are here watching us live. We absolutely adore them. And we really don't want to disparage them by calling it the Matt Dillahunty show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you don't care. I do.
Well.
No, it is perfectly fine. I only wish to discuss something else today.
Oh, other than veganism?
Yes.
Yes.
Eric just wants to eat his cheeseburgers in peace.
Hamish.
Well, no,
I just need something new. I need fresh. Give me fresh.
Hamish, what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I have become aware that Russell Glasser is in the audience.
Ooh,
I don't see him in the audience, and also that's a little bit of an interesting thing to say.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you preparing to call in a drone strike? Is that and you've got like a...
And specifically, are you preparing to talk to us, or are you going to make comments about Matt and Russell and not us?
I'm here to discuss with you.
Okay.
Of course.
Then let's do it.
Yeah.
I've discovered a child from my congregation showed me a clip of Matt discussing with Russell, and it appears that Russell, despite being an atheist, is perfectly fine with mutilating the penis of little boys. And I wonder how an atheist justifies circumcision without appealing to the Lord.
To be clear, I don't think that an atheist would appeal to a god just in an argument. Additionally, different atheists, different ideas about morality. I'm not Russell Glasser, so I can't refer to a clip that I'm not entirely familiar with and say what reasoning or what he said. But also, if you're asking us about circumcision,
can I throw in one quick thing before we get into the topic of circumcision?
Oh yeah,
really quick.
Is it a foreskin?
No, it's. You talk to people at your church about watching the Atheist Experience?
A child
watched the Atheist Experience and talked about it at church?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's real weird, dude.
Nice.
That's real weird,
and
that kind of clues me in that you really might not be a real person, because that's super weird.
You say that.
I mean, when I was in church, I mean, the thing is, Hamish, I get it. The way you talk is very much like a lot of the people that I spoke to when I went to church, and so I always. But kids talking about, I would have gotten whooped if I was talking about atheist stuff at church.
This is an 18-year-old.
Oh, okay, that's not a kid.
Yeah. Wait, what denomination are you?
Free Church of Scotland.
I know almost nothing about them.
Yeah, no, I'll look it up though. Okay, so mutilation of the foreskins. Jamie, do you want to go first or do you want me?
Well, not with that introduction. You go first.
All right.
You mutilate the foreskin.
So, do I think that it is, or do you want me to speak to the morality of it, or what do I just think about circumcision in general? I mean, there's like, what are you asking specifically, Hamish?
I'm looking to address the moral aspect. However, first I would like to say my congregation is aware of my calls to the Atheist Experience because I have made them aware.
Oh,
okay.
Do you enjoy a little bit of, I was on the show?
Oh.
Well, they enjoy watching the atheists be destroyed. Of course. That's the people from their language.
Just wrecked.
Now, please continue.
Okay.
I mean, to be clear, our call-in is an open invitation. They're welcome to call in as well.
Yes,
or
please.
Email, or message on the Facebook, or tweet at me, as many are wont to do.
Hamish, if you can get more people from your church to call and validate you, that would be amazing.
Indeed.
All right,
the
cool.
Foreskin.
The foreskins.
foreskin.
Going to you can't forget about foreskins.
Yeah.
They
Sorry, the way you said that reminded me of Star Wars, and
so-
now I'm not sure how I'm going to hear that one over again. I have destroyed the show.
I can't. Okay. So
This is actually
foreskins.
serious matter.
No, it's
Sorry,
really not. I mean, here's the thing:
do you mean-
is it along the lines of like female genital mutilation? There are people who would say it is. Do I? Well, I think that I'm sitting in a pretty privileged place, and I'm definitely influenced by a culture where circumcision is not just a religious thing, but it's a cultural thing. I also had braces as a teenager, and I don't know if anyone can make a moral judgment on that, but that's definitely pretty weird for somebody coming in from the outside who doesn't know about braces.
Yeah.
So what do I think about non-religious circumcision? I think we need to contextualize it. So let's put this into context.
Well, I mean,
okay.
Okay.
So you have in the Torah, you have several stories about how God ordered his chosen people to cut off the little tag, like it was ripping it off
the covenant with
mattress.
Abraham.
Yes, so that they can identify themselves as part of the Lord's group. I really think that's kind of weird that he made that mistake in the first place, but I'll get back to that. You have stories about people who were convinced that, they're just going to become part of the tribe of Israel, and they're going to circumcise themselves, and then everybody's going to be happy, and then while everybody's laid out and in pain after having circumcised themselves,
they attack.
They got attacked and destroyed because really, the early religious, that's just brutal and terrible. I think when you trace the religious history of circumcision, you have a whole lot of dishonesty. You have a whole lot of cruelty. So I guess I'm having trouble contextualizing why you think it's a moral issue on our end when you're saddled with over 2,000 years of cowardice when it comes to cutting off the skin of really. So that's where I'm contextualizing it on a religious place. On a secular place, I don't know. I don't know because I haven't read about it and because it's the morally and ethically honest thing for me to say is I don't know. I don't know because I haven't read the studies on it, on whether or not it ultimately hurts people. I don't know how much sensation it takes away or what complications can arise from it. I do know that doing it in a hospital is much more sterile, much safer, and drastically reduces the risk of infection and complication.
Which does occur.
Yeah,
right?
it does. I do know that there are plenty of people who would say that things look aesthetically better, circumcised or uncircumcised. Everybody's got their preference. And some people make their decisions based on that. Do I think it's weird? A little bit. But
Jake.
That's
kind of where I'm
Eric,
at.
did you bring up that last part to prevent me from jumping in?
No, actually, I'm done. It's all you, buddy.
What I was going to say is the objection that I've heard to it that I think holds the largest weight is that it depends on the decision making behind it, right? So the issue that I've heard that I'm most sympathetic to is one of bodily autonomy. You're making a decision about an optional medical procedure for an infant who, at that moment in time, is not capable of expressing any interest or disinterest as to whether or not they would like to go through this. As I understand it, I don't know another word besides cosmetic to use in this situation, but this optional surgery.
Is that okay? I really don't know what else to say about it. Where are you at, Hamish?
May I speak now?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Go right ahead.
Thank
We will cut in if we really want to, bring up a point that you make. But yeah, go ahead.
So it is easy for the Christians and for the Jews to justify the circumcision. However, it seems utterly monstrous from the atheist perspective if you do not have God to appeal to for justification.
How do you
can
get
an
there?
atheist...
Well, again, I mean, you keep using the phrase from an atheist perspective.
We're
right?
atheists, and we didn't say that, so where are you getting that?
Well, that and atheists disagree.
Yeah, I mean, like we gave you our atheist perspective, and that isn't what you said, so I don't know how that holds
We
water.
gave you our perspectives, and so...
I can explain this perfectly.
Go ahead.
Atheists such as yourself may be more reasonable in this facet.
Thank
However,
you.
I'll take that.
By the atheist perspective, I merely mean the non-Christian, non-Jew perspective. And that is, without the Lord to appeal to, how can any atheist justify mutilation of a child? And some atheists do, including those within your own ranks.
We have ranks?
I mean, I was going to say, to be clear, do you mean like members of the, what?
No.
Is there an army?
I am the general of the atheists.
General. Ha, your rank is so low.
Yeah, right, I know. I
No,
have low ambitions, Jamie. Leave me alone.
You say that, but you're here. No, when you say amongst your own ranks, do you mean that there are people that are atheists that give a justification for parents having their infants circumcised?
Exactly. Okay. Even amongst the atheist community of Austin.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. How familiar are you with the members of the atheist community of Austin? Or is it like
I am perhaps only dimly aware. However, I know enough to say at least one member, Russell, supports the procedure.
That's
why he brought up Russell.
Yeah, yes. I think he said that at the beginning, but we kind of went away from it because I'm sort of like, okay, I'm capable of talking to Russell about this later if that's a choice that we both decide.
Agree on their own morality.
Well, it's not a moral issue very much, is it then?
Well, at the present moment, Russell doesn't hold the office of atheist pope.
Babies.
What?
Sorry.
You don't consider the mutilation of infants to be a moral issue.
To be clear, when you say you in that sentence, are you referring to Eric and myself or all atheists in general?
You in particular.
Us in particular? I can't get off of the hypocrisy that you're giving me when you belong to a church that endorses it. Like, how do we even start the conversation? So we gave our views on it. I would like your view. Right? I mean, we've been answering your questions. I feel like we've been doing pretty good about responding to you. So go ahead.
Very well. Sometimes the Lord demands a sacrifice. It isn't.
Yes!
To be clear, when the Lord demands the sacrifice...
Like a blood sacrifice.
Well, I mean, the Old Testament, yeah. And also Jesus.
So does the Lord still require sacrifices?
Humanity discovered a very long time ago that sacrifices were necessary for bargaining with the future and for instilling discipline and a connection with the Lord. It is still in our best interests to sacrifice much to the Lord Almighty.
Sure, people do have the modern interpretation of tithe where they give 10% of their income, but to be clear, we're still talking about blood sacrifices? Or are we, ?
We are talking about circumcision.
Okay.
Do you consider that, a kind of blood sacrifice for God? Like beyond just a symbol of the covenant between God and Abraham and his descendants that will number more than the stars in the sky?
The procedure can indeed involve bloodshed, and sacrifices must be made to appease Jesus,
Okay.
the Lord,
So,
the Father.
wait,
Okay.
circumcision is necessary. Is circumcision one of the sacrifices that are necessary to appease Jesus?
This is a sacrifice we make of our own volition in covenant with the Lord, the Father.
All right. So, okay, that actually, do we know what the necessary number or amount of sacrifices are? And then is it all or nothing? Like we receive all of God's wrath if we don't do enough? Or is it like, okay, with 10 sacrifices, if we do 9, we get like 1/10 of the Lord's wrath?
All of us fall short of perfection, though some commit less sins than others.
Okay. So wait, is it like the number of sacrifices that are needed corresponds to the number of sins?
Some sacrifices are greater and more appeasing than others.
If you cut off the whole penis, is it like really good?
Will you please be more respectful towards my beliefs?
I'm not respectful to a idea of a God that would create everything, is all powerful, but cares about people cutting off pieces of their children's penises. It tells me that, I mean, it's very interesting. If God wanted us to do something, he would just make us do it because he can. So either he doesn't love us enough to just do it, or that says something really, really cruel about the nature of the God that you're describing. I'm not really,
Well,
I really think that you do have an evolving view, because you do have all of these different points that you bring up, and I really like that. Like, you just make me happy. Hamish, you made my day with this. I'm glad we picked up. Do I think that the God that you're describing, are you saying, hold on, I have a better one. Do you think that you know the mind of your God? Do you think that you really truly know what your God wants?
I will answer that in just a second, but first I would like to say sometimes love means discipline. So it is not mutually exclusive to have a loving God and a God that requires sacrifice. Now I will answer your question.
Okay, please.
If you will repeat it, please.
Sure. No, that's no problem. I have to throw out that kids that have leukemia are not deserving of that as a punishment, and that's not something that a loving person would inflict on another person to make them better in any way. What I'm trying to get at, Hamish, because I don't want to try and I'm trying not to give a gotcha. I'm trying to explain this to you. You don't know the mind of your God, do you? Because that is a sin, right? Saying that you know the mind of God, right? Or that you know, like, right?
The entirety of the Lord's mind and glory greatly, nay, infinitely exceeds the capacity for any man or all of mankind to fully grasp.
So,
however, we understand his commands, we understand roughly what he expects from us, and we are without excuse.
So, my point here hasn't really changed.
Yeah, so if you have an understanding that God's mind is infinite and beyond as far as understanding the totality of it.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you know that you understand enough of it to be as confident as you are that, you know, the beliefs that you hold are accurate?
I have an answer to this. How much of the universe do you know?
Very little if you were looking at percentage.
Negligible.
And yet, you know which planet you inhabit.
We named it.
Yeah.
Indeed, you know which species you are.
We named it.
Yeah. I don't say that I sufficiently understand the universe to
but
describe it.
I mean, there's nothing.
You understand you can drink water and you must not drink mud.
Well, we only understand that because we weren't the ones who drank the mud. The ones who drank the mud aren't around anymore.
I'm sure
Right.
there's a contest somewhere where people drink.
Oh, don't.
You understand language. You
Yeah.
understand many things.
I understand the comparison you're going for here, but I
Please, Jamie, I'm
propose
totally lost.
an alternate one. What you're saying is there is a being with a mind, and I sufficiently understand that being's mind to come to this conclusion about what that being wants. And I'm saying, well,
Okay.
if you're saying that this being has so much more mind, infinitely more, I think is what you said, than what you understand, it would be kind of like me saying that I know what, Oprah's favorite kind of sandwich is based on having seen her on television. Like, most of her life isn't on television, so I don't, again, if you're saying you only know a small part of an infinitely large thing, and you're saying, but I understand enough of it to understand its will for me specifically, it's like, are you sure that there isn't another part of that infinite mind that applies to the will, to what God wants for human beings?
Well, I can answer. I understand very little in total about human biology, but I understand enough to know that I must eat, I must sleep, I must imbibe the word of God. I know many English words, but I do not know the entire language. We do not need to know
Everything to know
entire
some things,
thing.
right?
Yes.
All right, so if there was a person that came to you that was eating McDonald's 4 times a day, and that came to me and said, I'm eating McDonald's 4 times a day because I need to do that to stay alive. And I said, that's not really a good way of eating. And they said, no, I know that in order to live, I need to eat, and I'm doing that. I know what I need to know. There isn't something more about eating that I could learn that would change the way I eat. I would say, no, there's more. Now I'm proposing to you that you've come to me and you've said, I understand what God wants for human beings. And I've said, okay, are you sure there isn't more information that would better inform what you think God wants for his people?
I could learn 100 times as many things about mathematics as I currently know, but nothing will overturn 5 plus 5 is 10.
Unless,
So are you
yeah,
saying that you have an understanding of the very basic fundamentals that underlie all of God's will?
I am saying I have a sufficient understanding of the will of the Father, which suits my way of being. Indeed. Amen.
In nomine Patri. I'm sorry.
So
So I actually the only other thing that I really wanted to bring up was, what do you think? I apologize. Hamish, this actually is going to give a lot for the community to talk about, and I appreciate it. I think this has been fun, and I love that we're off of veganism. I think
it'll come back.
I just want like a
never
break
escape.
from it because it's just not
From all that
interesting to me. But the foreskin thing, like I cannot imagine. Maybe this is me with my just tiny imagination.
Can't imagine
why
300
an
foreskins
infinitely. That's funny. No, I can't imagine why a all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving creator of the universe cares about what you do to your baby's penis. That just feels like micromanagement to a level that I can't even begin to describe.
You trying to insult that baby's manhood right now? Micromanage? Come on.
Oh, nice, Hamish. You are a breath of air. I appreciate
You should write down the poetry that you...
Well, I was going to say fresh air, but I don't know if that's...
Well, so Hamish, the thing that I would ask is, are you willing to call back another time? And I know that you have emailed in the past. Are you willing to start a conversation with us over email as well as on the phone?
Perhaps.
And are you willing
I
to
would like
see if people from your church will call in too?
Well,
I was about to say just that.
Woo! Look at that. We
Yeah.
agreed with something, Hamish.
I would like your hosts on the Atheist Experience to be braver and take on my calls and the calls of my congregation.
So that is totally up to them.
yeah, that, and we have a Facebook page for Talk Heathen, and I can tell you right now that's probably going to get multiple posts about this call.
And we actually have somebody who is doing a debate soon who called in just earlier. And, you know, it will speak to your sincerity in the questions if you are willing to have this conversation off air, because that means that you care and you're not just trying to get screen time.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the big complaints we get about you, Hamish, is that you just want airtime.
Yeah,
And
there are people that think you're only witnessing to us, if that's the phrase you would use,
And
to
so-
hear your voice. And we'd like to be able to counter with, no, he's engaged with us over email and ways that are less
Yeah. Sound good?
live on the air. Well, to be clear, that was a lot that we asked about.
Yeah, seriously, I don't even know how he's going to...
And we talked over
Go
each
ahead,
other
Hamish.
and you. Our apologies.
I do value having an audience to convert with my ideas. However, I will respect and consider the email proposal, and I will speak to my congregation.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Are you on Facebook at all?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Perhaps I will join.
All right. Well, as far as the email goes, that can be one of the things that we talk about. I can send a link to the group. And then on the Facebook page, that's, visible to a large audience, of effectively the same audience that watches this, or at least large overlap.
I believe that some members of my congregation have already called into the Atheist Experience and have been rejected.
I mean, I can't speak to that because
Yeah.
that's beyond the scope of my understanding.
And when I screened calls
Or knowledge, I should say.
for the Atheist Experience, if I had a Christian caller, a religious caller who wanted to talk, I usually gave them precedence. Anyway,
Well, yeah. I hope that they get through there, and we're happy to take their calls here. And we look forward to talking to you in the future.
Indeed.
Hamish,
Do you have the email address?
Oh, don't have him give it over
so.
there.
No. As in, do you have ours? Because he can reach out to us initially, and then we
I
can.
believe I do, yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you,
a good one.
Hamish.
Perhaps I will speak to Matthew later on.
Perhaps you'd be okay with speaking to us and our audience and the
Yes,
Talk Heathen
if
people,
he is not
because
empowered, he will
we
speak
value
to
them.
me.
Okay.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
You know what I bet?
It's
if he
just
calls in
fresh
and the call
infusion.
screener puts him on the line, and Matt is aware of the number of times that he's been like, if Matt's, what are you, chicken? Come out and debate me on this show that you host. Chicken. I can only imagine what kind of response.
Well, I could also imagine Matt being like, you are so far below me, why would I dignify time with you?
That's one of the possible responses I was imagining just now. Yeah, but hey, we'll see. All things are possible if you just imagine so, and that's your definition of what's possible.
Yeah. So with that said, I think we had a really good show. I'm really happy that we're back and we're live. Last weekend we had to do a little pre-record, but we're back. And
Feel free to stay in the YouTube live chat, because as soon as I plug this in so it doesn't die, I'll be there.
in the meantime, you can email us, mail@talkheathen.com. You can see it at the bottom.
You can find us on Facebook at Facebook/TalkHeathen.
You can find us on Reddit at reddit.com/r/talkheathen.
And you can find me on Twitter at reason_evidence.
Before you close this video, like and subscribe. We've got some really fun stuff as we move up in subscribers. Do it, share it. We absolutely appreciate you guys. This makes my week every week, and I'm super, super glad we're doing it. So
yeah, and feel free to comment on all of those things as well.
yes, I'm Eric Murphy.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie Dillahunty. And just remember,
We don't hate you.
Oh,
We just...
can I do it again?
Sure. No. One time only.
We don't hate you.
Sudden death.
We just...
We
Come on!
We just disagree with the confidence that you hold in your conclusions based on the justifications you've offered so far.